It's been 4 years since I moved to Ghana from New York, and a lot has changed in the course of these 4 years. In this video, you can expect me to dive into what made me survive this long in Ghana, what I have learned, and what has made me thrive. Well, it all goes all the way back to 2018, where the idea of coming to Africa, Ghana in this case, came to mind. And I was thought to be crazy. It wasn't a thing back then. Right? It wasn't in the mainstream. It wasn't cool for people my age wanting to come back home while they have energy. That was not the status quo. The status quo was you take yourself to America or your parents bring you to America, you work there, you might never return back home, or you will build something back home, come home when you're about 70, when you got nothing to give back to the country, and then you come and live your short years and you pass on. That has been the blueprint for a lot of people. So when I had the audacity to tell people that I want to come back home to Ghana, I caught a lot of heat. It was a lot of naysayers. It was a lot of people telling me why I shouldn't come back home. Why do I want to come back to this poor country where people are trying to run away from this very country? Why do I have a master's degree in accounting and I want to leave all of that to come back to Ghana to do what? This was what I got, right? Funny enough, this was coming from my own people that know back home. They hated it. They didn't have anything positive to say about Ghana, right? Talk about the corruptions, talk about the struggles, they talk about the lack of opportunity in this very country. And I made it to the land of freedom, the land of gold, which is America in this case. And I want to leave all of that and come back. What's wrong with me? Now, I want to take you guys all the way back to why I decided to come to Ghana to begin with, if you've never heard the story. Could you believe that it was a white guy? Yes, it was a white guy who told me about the opportunities that lies down here on the motherland. And he saw in me that I could do something much bigger than being a cog in the wheel, but being an accountant for a big corporation where I'm not regarded, where I can die and the next day the business will carry on like I never existed, like they do not care about me. Is this what I want to do in my life? Do I want to give my precious years to such a company that do not care about me just for security and steady pay? This guy got me thinking, and I realized that I have a bigger calling. I felt the fire burn inside of me that I have to come back here and do something, employ people, contribute to the economy. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I was up for the task. There's a background. Me and this white guy had an idea of me coming to Ghana to open a gym. So I first came here, scouted, did a lot of research, spoke to a lot of people. Ultimately, we didn't go through with a deal as far as like coming down here to build gyms. But I ended up coming because I'm someone who have bought into the idea of me coming back home, and it had already entered my soul, right? And America was no longer in me anymore. I was not happy, right? Since 2018, by 2019, I had gotten a blueprint of my building where I'm living right now. And I said, before I move back here, I was supposed to move here in 2023, actually, based on my financial projections. But I ended up moving in May 2021. So it's been 4 years. God was good along the way, and I was able to complete this beautiful house that I live in. So I was going to come to Ghana regardless, but I came here with some money in my pocket. Now, here's where a lot of people go wrong. Year one, I came to Ghana, May 2021. I made my debut in Ghana with money in my pocket, the stock market money, with a completed house. As a matter of fact, my house wasn't done, so I stayed at the hotel for about 6 months, living the life. Right? I was actually living the life. The market was good. For those of you guys who don't know, I'm a professional stocks trader, although I don't have any fulfillment from that. So I've shied away from that. Plus the unpredictability. No matter how good you are, you can lose it just as quick as you made it. I didn't see a future in it. I just shy away from stocks altogether for some time to focus on the motherland. When I came to Ghana, the first thing I did was business-wise was to go and purchase a car wash. Now, my idea was to buy this car wash. And remember, guys, I was coming to Ghana to build gym. That was the initial idea, right? But when I came to Ghana because I was moving, trying to scout for opportunities. Because, like I said, the financials and COVID and everything, the idea of me doing it with partners just didn't work out. So I was here on my own, trying to scout for opportunities. Now, I had this epiphany that I can buy an existing car wash. And for whatever reason, I knew exactly what I want to buy. I wanted to buy a car wash, right? I wanted to buy a car wash and then I'm going to convert it into some sort of like a mini mall and still get the gym idea. And I remember when I was in America, also had this true intense calling inside of me that I'm supposed to just be into the car wash business. So everything lined up for me beautifully. I approached the owner of a car wash, an old defunct. Well, it was working, but it didn't look, up to par. And I bought that car wash, and oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, what followed next was scary. 2021, around November, is when I started the procedure of acquiring this property. Now, a little background here. The owners were living on the land. They had a title. They had operated this business for 15 years prior to that. They had a restaurant in there. They have a history. They sold the land next to me, to my neighbors. They had buildings on there. They had a title. There was absolutely nothing for me to worry about with this land deal. And I spent $83,000 to buy this car wash. At the time, the exchange rate was quite low, so the cities wasn't much. It was 400 and something with 500,000 Ghana cities. But when you did the math, it was $83,000 at the time. And that's what I cared about, because that's what I paid. $83,000 cash, I will never forget, because of what I ended up going through. So all of this is during year one. Buying my land here where my house is sitting on was a smooth transition. I bought it from an estate, which is why I'm actually in this business with Russian property, selling land to you guys. We're gonna arrive here, so be patient. How the Russian properties and mill building and all that came about. We're gonna get into that. But I came down here with money. I thought I can buy, this car wash and put up a mini mall and, get that sweet, nice money, right? And I'm gonna what? Save and rinse and repeat. Now, that was my idea when I came to Ghana. But somebody decided to crush me, right? Started to crush me to the ground and stomp on me here in Ghana. Immediately when I took possession of the land, somebody showed up. Can you believe this? The people I bought the land from have lived there for 20 good years undisturbed, have buildings there. I bought a business. I even had a pressurized washing machine that they used to wash the cars. I had a building. I used the meter. They have, trust me, and somebody is saying that the land belongs to them, that they have a judgment over that land. And if I want the land, I should come and pay. And he wanted me to buy the land for the second time, which I refused. But before I refused, this is another tip that I'm going to give you guys. So when somebody comes and bother you on the land, don't immediately get, all rowdy and stuff. Try to find out what legal right do they have. Sometimes you actually might have to sit down with them. They actually have a case. So that's what I did. I sat down with the guy for the first time to try to understand what gave this guy the audacity to come and stop my work, come and use the police and just being very annoying that the land belongs to him. What gives this guy the authority? According to the guy, he has a judgment over the land. The land doesn't belong to the people that sold it to me. They didn't have the right to sell the land to me. And if I want that land, I should come and see him, because he's not in a rush to build. We can go to court and play this out for years. That was the threat that he gave me. So I told him to let me see his judgment, which he did. He gave me the judgment. I snapped a photo and I went to do my research on that specific judgment. Came to find out that my land is outside of this guy's judgment. It's completely outside of this guy's judgment. So I knew I had a case. This guy got nothing. And then I hit him with force. So I was fighting this guy. He's using the police. I'm using the police above him. I'm using lawyers. I'm threatening the police. I'm doing what I gotta do. Right. The police eventually stopped supporting this guy because of where things were going. And the guy eventually took me to court in the year 2022, around May. He took me to court and he put an injunction on my land. Now, for you guys who don't understand what an injunction is an injunction is when the court places an order on the land that you cannot go there. They restrained myself, my servants, my parents, anybody that's in relation to me from going to the land that I own. The land that I've bought and have successfully transferred title to my name. An injunction was placed on it. And guess what, guys? By the time when the injunction was placed on this land, I had spent about additional $20,000 on this specific land, right? So I was in over 100K and I did not make a dime. For the next 2 years, Ghana was extremely terrible to me. My first years in Ghana, the first 2 years was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. And I want to tell you guys how I survived it. Now, I'm going to take a break here and give you guys some sort of encouragement. Now, when you come to Ghana, there is a spiritual calling. There is mindsets that we have to change. There are people who are unscrupulous that we have to fight. Now, it's not going to be easy. Our people, right? Our people, the vast majority of our people have their mindset. It's not good. They want to crumble you. They don't want you to succeed. They want to take advantage. They want to deceive you. And those people, I find so much pleasure in crushing them, taking my time, going through the pain. I'm not going to take the easy way out. I'm going to fight it. And that's exactly what I did in this situation. So let's get back. For 2 good years, this guy kept me in court for a black and white situation. My land was totally outside of this guy's land. He wasted my time in court, not making it on time, telling excuses, delaying for things to be done. So he managed to get 2 years out of me because this was a simple black and white case. My land is not part of whatever judgment that you are holding. I don't care what says in the judgment. My land is outside. So while all of this was going on, if you guys are aware, Russia and Ukraine has some war going on, which is still happening today. But when it started, it really messed up a lot of things. I ended up losing all my money in the stock market, right? The rest, I had to go and pay Uncle Sam with it. Taxes. My tax bill was hefty. So I was cleaned out, and here I was in Ghana. My money is stuck in this car wash. I have lost all my capital in the stock market. I couldn't trade anymore. The rest of the money, people will say, oh, why did you sit down to lose all of it? I was waiting to hit long-term capital gain. When you hold a stock for more than 1 year, you hit long-term capital gain and my tax is going to be lower because I already owed the IRS a lot of money. And I wanted to be smart as an accountant. And it backfired when the Russia-Ukraine war happens. Now, the good thing is I made all the money in the market. So if you look at things, the house I got, car and everything, the car wash and all that, it all came from the market. So I didn't lose it all. I actually got something out of it. But it was painful because seeing that amount of money and then seeing the whole thing evaporate was quite painful. And Uncle Sam came for his cut. When I was taking profits and building this house and taking profit and buying a Land Cruiser and taking a profit and buying a car wash, when you're taking profit, you got to pay taxes on the profit. And that was going to be what? Come due. That was going to come due. And it was hefty, guys. So I had to pay while I was in Ghana. Imagine the amount of stress that I had to go through. Now, when things were crashing, I was still putting money into the car wash because I was trying to rush to get a car wash operating because the car wash at the time when the stranger was good, it was going to bring me about $2,500 a month. And I felt like I was good. But this guy put an injunction on there and nothing. So for the first 2 years, I did not make a dime in Ghana and I lost $100,000, at least for the meantime. I didn't lose it. It was on hold because I ended up winning the case, as you guys know. These were very difficult times. I had a lot of, I told you so. I had a lot of, internal battles. I was thinking, did I make the right choice coming to this very country? Because, I couldn't believe it, how evil people could be. Did I actually make the right choice? So I was battling myself. I was even contemplating, should I go, not to move, but should I go back to hustle while this case is ongoing? And by the time the case is done, I would have saved something for me to start because I couldn't even see where I was going to get the money from after the case is over to build this mini mall. This is all pre-YouTube. Before I came to Ghana, there was a big problem, which was, it's been around for quite some time, where people want to build, trust relatives that have no idea in construction, and they basically do a terrible job or they spend their money. So I knew this was a problem. My father's friends have been complaining about this. So I decided to create a company with a business partner that we are going to sort out this issue. But prior to YouTube, word of mouth, nothing really was moving. It wasn't really a thing. The first project we wanted to do was, this 3-bedroom house sitting on a half plot. We're going to build and sell it and all that, right? Or off-plan sale because the money wasn't even there. But we started small. And while I was really bored, I decided to jump on YouTube to share my story of how I built this beautiful house that I live in, and advice that my father's friend gave me when I came to visit Ghana when I was younger, like 19, to buy land because I don't know tomorrow. And I did that. And I was essentially encouraging people to look out on doing the same. The YouTube community welcomed me so amazingly. My first video did really well, and I was hooked. Ever since, I have been happy to share, my journey with you guys and what I got going down here. And that has been the genesis of everything. Now, let me take a break. If I didn't have this residual income coming in, because like I was saying, I was contemplating on going to America. Now, what made me stay is I was thinking about this beautiful car that I got, paid off. This beautiful house that I got, paid off. I'm going to leave this to go and hustle in America, paying crazy taxes, paying the landlord. I was renting a one-bedroom apartment at a time for like about $2,000. So I'm gonna live in a cubicle coming from this big house and paying $2,000 a month or more, because that was way back. And somebody enjoying the fruits of my labor. I struggled to put up this house. And a car. What am I going to do with a car? Am I going to sell the car? I don't want to sell the car. And where am I going to put the money for the meantime? Because I'm waiting for this case to be over. And it was crazy. I decided to keep it all and fight it. My ordeal going to court is actually paving the path for something bigger. While I was on YouTube sharing my genuine tips with you guys, I came to realize that people want to learn, because I made a video about some road expansion with the Temakosomo Road, which is currently ongoing right now at Afienya, right, where I'm selling plenty of land, and that has been the game changer for me here in Ghana. That has been my true calling. That has been something that I'm so passionate about. That has been the core of my business. So the first 2 years in Ghana was so horrible that the average person would throw in the towel and they would run away. And oftentimes, this is what happens to a lot of people. We know a lot of YouTubers that came to Ghana and they didn't make it. And some of the mistakes is, one, those people were living above their means. They didn't build anything like I did. They didn't build a house. They came and they went to rent a place that's like $3,000. If I did that, trust me, you would have never heard of Russia Sari. But I came in well prepared. I owned a house. I had a car that was paid off. So when everything hit the fan, all I needed was something to eat. And that gave me some room to stay in the game. A lot of people leave because they didn't plan these things. And at the same time, I'm a very simple guy. Some of these people come here and they think they want to live the American lifestyle. They want to seem bougie. They want to, they do all the extra stuff. They go broke quickly and they run away. At the same time, I have resilience. Okay, I'm very resilient. I'm stubborn. When the going got tough, I looked at it like, we got this. We're going to do it to the end. We're going to do it. And we did it. The average person would have run away because, there was one time when this guy was actually following me, right? Trying to serve me with a belief, but the guy was following me to my house, and it was really weird, the whole, encounter. It became a huge police case and all that. So kind of like a threat on your life in a way as well. Most people will also give up. But we fought it, and here we are. First 2 years, I didn't make a dime in Ghana, but lost money. Year 3 is when things started turning around with the creation of my YouTube, and then, Arcadian Limited, which is my construction side of things, and then land, which has been the biggest, which is Russian properties. It's what you see. Has been the biggest impact that I've had on the community, because a lot of people can afford land now, but not a lot of people have the money to build. And land has a lot of issues in Ghana from my own experience. But being through court was the best thing that ever happened to me, because what? I came out with a PhD in land. I was now a seasoned land dealer. I've been through the court system. I understood how things work from experience. And I used that pain to help people acquire properties in Ghana, right? I got properties in Afienya and Pram. You can check it out. Welcome to Afienya. A plot of land in Afienya is 85,000 Ghana cedis. I've been selling land to a lot of people. Most of the houses in the walls that you see on this video are the people that bought land from me. We still have plenty of land available for you. And if you're interested, Our link is in this very video and in the description below. Reach out to us so we can talk. Afenya is less than an hour away from Accra, and they are doubling the road, so the distance will be even shorter when it's done. Pram Pram. Now, Pram Pram is well sought after due to its proximity to the beach. People love the beach fronts and the beach vibe in Pram Pram. Now, Pram Pram is not too far away from the main city, which is Accra. Less than an hour drive, you are in Accra, and they are doubling the main Tema Adan Road. When that's done, the distance will be even shorter. We also have land here going for 85,000 Ghana cedis per plot. In a nutshell, my 4 years in Ghana wasn't easy, especially the first 2 years was really challenging. But what I didn't do was what? Give up. I did not give up to please the people that told me I couldn't make it here. For the people that told me that, there's no opportunity here in Ghana and I was going to go back and then they were going to be right. I wasn't going to do that. I was not going to do that. Instead, I wanted those people to feel sorry for saying that. The fire was burning inside of me. And now here I am preaching to people that it's absolutely possible to make it down here in Ghana. But you need patience, you need resiliency, and you need to know that Africa, or Ghana in this case, is not the West. Things are done a bit differently. You need to adjust. You need to accept that here things are totally different and you maneuver around it. Another thing that I realized was in the beginning stages, I used to go back and forth to America. Well, to my credit, my wife was in America and we were trying to make it work. But I realized that me going back and forth too often, twice a year, once a year, I wasn't really immersing myself in the Ghanaian community as far as like how things are. Because when I go there, I see how things are done there. And since I just moved back to Ghana, the mindset kind of reset to the West again. When you come back, you get annoyed with a few things. So I'm like, no, I'm not going anywhere. And for 2 years, I didn't go to America. Since my court situation, 2021, May, all the way to recently, my wife just gave birth to my beautiful daughter. Yes, I got a daughter. That's another thing that I want to touch on. My beautiful daughter here in Ghana. I'm going to raise her in Ghana. Yes. People asking me, oh, so is your daughter going to go to school? And I said, wow, are we that brainwashed as people? We feel like our kids got to go to school in America for them to be in a good or whatever. But I know a lot of Africans that grew up in America. They went to school there, and when I went there, and my colleagues that came from Ghana, we were smarter, and we all know this. The school system here, the kids are more disciplined. They are smarter when it comes to the school system. Now, the downside is taking in a lot of information, pouring it out to please your teacher is not really going to take you anywhere. And that's why we are still stuck at where we are today. The West is all about kids are reading on their own and stuff like that. And I don't have to be in the West to instill that in my daughter. Reading is what changed my life. My daughter is going to be a reader. It's that simple. No school in the West is going to make your kids smarter or whatever. It's the books that they read. It's as simple as that. Oftentimes we forget. Like we belittle everything that was done down here. Even when we know from our own experience that schools here were not bad. When we went out there, we were doing great. I remember my task class. And one time this teacher really tested our brains. It was some test that was really crazy. And I wasn't the first in class. I was second, right? I think about 75% of the class failed that test. They scored less than 65. It was a lot of 40s, a lot of 30s. I don't know why people feel so miserably. I got 86. And the guy who scored 92 was a Ghanaian. So the two top people in that class were Ghanaians. Born and raised here. That guy actually came to America. I know him because he was in my building. He came to America way after me. I think when he came straight to college. Right? He was fresh. He kicked their butts. So yes, my kid is going to be raised here. And I'm proud to do that. We need to start cherishing what we have. We are not Americans. We are not British. We are Ghanaians. Every other race finds opportunity here by ourselves. We don't find it. We've been brainwashed that we have to sit in the office. We've been brainwashed to a point where somebody can have a very good job here in Ghana and they will leave that job, use their hard-earned savings, $20,000, $30,000, and then travel to go to the West, only for them to go and struggle. I know a story of a guy who was making $5,000 here, stopped the job to go buy himself a visa. And because of shame, he can't come back because life is worse for him over there. I don't know what we have to say to you guys for you guys to know that the grass is no greener on the other side. In conclusion, I've been here for 4 years. I've learned a lot of things. I'm a business owner. I've been self-employed since 2020. 5 years and still going. I'm making impact. I've sold on to a lot of people. People are happy. I'm employing people. I'm making a change. And I wouldn't change it for the world. So I made a right decision by moving down here in Ghana. Now, the going wasn't easy, as you just heard from me. But if you have a passion, if you want to contribute, it takes more than comfort to make it down here.